Welcome back to Recharge, powered by RE/MAX of Michigan, where it's all about real stories, real strategies, real estate. My name is Kaylee Wilkinson, and today I am joined by my co-host, Ashley Dane. We have a very special guest in the studio with us today, a name you are likely familiar with as he has a storied past with our region. Please help me welcoming the CEO of the Broker Public Portal, Mr. Dan Troup. Dan.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be back.
Great.
Yeah, it feels good.
Dan, you're a legend with our region, right? You have won Distinguished Service Award, Norm Helm Award. Everybody loves you. They know you. But for those that may not know you or that are newer to our region, can you tell us how you discovered real estate and how you got your entry into the industry?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me here today.
Yeah.
Excited to be here. Real estate, I think, like anyone, I don't think we seek it out. It kind of finds us and comes to us. And the same happened to me. I think I started at the region when I was 24 years old. I was just a little young, a little young kid, probably didn't know better. But at that time, I actually owned a house and bought it with a RE/MAX agent before I even joined RE/MAX. And so I had an experience with purchasing real estate. But like all things in real estate, great things come from referrals. Mm-hmm. And I received a referral one day from a guy named Jerry Cam, who was working for RE/MAX Advantage at the time in commercial. He's no longer with us. Forever grateful in the referral that he passed me, which he said, hey, I think this internet thing in real estate is going to be something. And I think our region's looking for someone. And he introduced me to Mike Metzner at the time. And I was selling telecom. And, you know, B&I is a great referral program. What we talk about in the space about referrals, and that's one that I look back at. It's like you don't pass up on these referrals that pay out like a lifetime of difference in your life, and that one made the difference. And mm-hmm. I was interested in real estate to that level. I would say no, but did I dive in and take it in and try to learn everything I possibly could? Yes.
That's who you are, though.
That's who I
Dan
am.
Troup.
Yes, that's who I am, and thankful for Alda and Mike at the time, and mm-hmm. Angela for giving me the chance and the opportunity at this. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you spent many years with RE/MAX in Michigan. How many exactly?
I think it was 13 at the time, and then went and worked for corporate headquarters in 2018. Yeah, for another 6 years or so.
You learned a lot. Like you said, you started when you were 24 and grew the region to, essentially what it is now with some additional help. Yeah. But what key lessons or experiences from your time at the region shaped the leader that you are today?
I think it's the people you surround yourself with, right? It's not just, I can't do this all alone. Mm-hmm. So you guys helped me get to this spot too. I mean, I wouldn't be here without the help of the region and the agents. I think the experiences that I learned along the way is, what's interesting about our business or space is all these little mini businesses that exist within these businesses, right? And, I used to have a time when I was doing and teaching technology to agents where we would sit down for 20 minutes and just have a private conversation about how I could potentially help their business or help, improve their business. Those times really stick out to me as times where I felt like I was having an impact on people and just spending that one-on-one time. Now, that's hard to do, right? You're only one person can be on the road for so long and do that. But there's definitely some key moments that I think, too, that have led to me today. One, we used to say this when I was at headquarters, is like when you go through an experience, you grow a new skin, right? It's calloused. It's like you think you know what you're capable of until you stretch way beyond that. So I think I've been stretched way beyond some of those things. But if I had to pick that one thing, it'd probably be the leaders like Mike has been very impactful on my life. And as I was probably not as mature when I was 24 years old, has helped shape me into who I am today. And the people and the agents and the brokers who I got to learn from, definitely there's a little bit of all of them sprinkled within me here that you're seeing now, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And it's a region full of great leaders and full of great people, and I'm sure they all made an impact.
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't think you talked to everyone, because if you talked to everyone, I'm sure someone would have said something negative or
Doubtful.
It's stricken from the record.
Yeah. Now my history will just hopefully be, I don't ever talk about this, but like asking Sarah to come work with us, that was tough. Like, we see this in our space a lot, working with your spouse, right? Mm-hmm. And so I remember having that conversation with Mike of talking about our communications. And I said, I have someone perfect for this. It'd be Sarah. She was working for the university at the time. Mm-hmm. And, I think that was a great decision for Mike to hire Sarah as well and bring her in. So I stay connected through Sarah as well.
Yes.
And she probably doesn't like all the questions she gets about how Dan is doing, but
well, hopefully this answers all of those questions.
maybe it will. But I think that, a part of me still is very connected because Sarah's connected too. So that's cool.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
enjoy that.
So you left in around 2018, the Regions.
Yeah.
What have you been up to since?
Well, geez, we relaunched Remax.com. I went through the process of purchasing Booj. I was all part of that. That team still exists there. It's a small team at Remax called 73. And 73 is the data team behind a lot of what Remax does there. And I'm really proud of the work we did there. To go from Michigan, I think at the time we were doing 17 MLS feeds. I took on a task to do about 450 throughout US and Canada. And to aggregate that much data was way harder than I ever thought it was going to be. But I had a blast doing it. I definitely would do it again. Again, there's something about those challenges that you look back on and you're like, I never want to do that again. But yet, I really did grow in that time period for sure.
Yeah.
It was tough and challenging, and it was very rewarding. And that's what I was looking for by going to that. It was having a bigger impact on more agents and brokers. Mm-hmm. Really enjoyed my time there. It was a tough decision to tell Mike I had to leave. It was a tough decision to tell Remax that I had to leave, and take on something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
How did your roles after Remax prepare you for stepping into the CE role of the broker public portal?
Yeah, I've never been a CEO before, so this is new to me. I don't know how you prepare. There isn't really, I guess there's maybe some classes you could go take at MSU or WMU, my alma mater, and you could say, well, how do I be a better CEO? I just look at the people that I was surrounded with before, like Mike, who, again, I learned so much from and has really shaped who I am, I think, as a leader. And definitely some other people along the way have had an impact on the leader I am today. Some on things that I want to replicate and some things I never want to be. So try to putting my own spin on that, putting myself in their, my team members in their position, thinking of it as a holistic thing that we all have an impact. Mm-hmm. Now that's hard to do when the company becomes huge. We're 4 people now at this company, so I still have it very easy, but to be in charge of accounting and legal and be in charge of these things as a small business owner, as I think of as an agent, right? Doing your taxes, doing all these things, you have to think of everything, and that's a little bit more difficult. But also, I think that one of the hardest things, and the thing that I look back on and most proud of, is that there are people who wanted to go on this journey with me. So I must have had some impact on those people before. And I'm thankful that they said yes to me and said, hey, we want to continue on this with you and build something different and take on a risk. That's never easy. I think being transparent and being open with your teammates and being vulnerable is what makes you a great CEO, right? I'm human just like you guys are. You could be CEOs too if you wanted to take on that challenge. But I try to be as honest as possible and be as transparent as possible with my team members. And we see this in real estate, right? With teams and other things, right? These are little mini CEOs inside their business. So I've learned through many of those processes of what to do and what not to do by my history in this space.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you, right? Like, you have the data brain. You have the enormous brain of who you are. Like, that's your background. But then you've evolved that into being very personable and making people feel welcome and comfortable and laugh. Like, you make people laugh all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have such a personality that fits well with the CEO position now, and it makes sense to me. But we certainly miss you at the region. Is there anything that you miss about being part of Remax of Michigan in those days?
Oh, for sure. Like, I never get to drive anywhere anymore. Like I fly everywhere now. So driving throughout the state of Michigan, I love this state, right? I still live here, still live in Kalamazoo with Sarah and Nolan. I miss the local aspect that we had of that. That was a lot of fun. You guys get to experience that now. And thankfully I get to experience it still because I get to go with Sarah on some of these things that you guys go on and still get to go to regional conference and spend time and hang out there. A little bit different capacity and much less nervous than before. Ashley gets to take on that now. Thank you, Ashley, for doing that. I think Einstein said it best. I don't really have any special talents. I'm passionately curious about everything, specifically technology. I have to have an understanding of how things work, and I think that's what makes me who I am. The shy 15-year-old that I used to be, I think would look at this version of Dan and be like, it's crazy that I could even sit on this podcast and have a conversation, right? But thankfully, I don't know why I turned out this way, Kaylee, okay? I'm trying to put my finger on it.
This isn't a therapy session, Dan. This is a podcast.
I could lay down on the couch here and we can talk a little bit more about it. But no, I think it's more luck than anything.
Well, that's humble of you to say.
Now, from your perspective, I personally look at the last 6 to 7 years, and it really feels like it's sort of been this period of uncharted territory of industry change. What stands out to you as the biggest industry-wide changes since 2018?
Being in the space since 2005, when I joined the region, to see it at its height in 2005 and to see it come crashing down to some of the lowest lows we've ever seen in the space, and to see it then climb back out of that and then kind of be in this interesting space right now. The impact the economy has on consumer confidence, willing to purchase a home, interest rates, is a force that is so hard to control. And I think that is the driving force. We'd like to think we could put our hand on it and move the industry and recruit more agents and sell more homes individually. And I think agents do. They can move the needle a little bit. But that massive needle that's out there that exists is definitely much more economic. Indicators, interest rates, supply and demand, that is tough for us to control. And so how can I win with those wins? Like, how can I adjust my sales, not try to build a better boat here or change the winds? I think those are the agents that have always adapted and done really well in our space. But there's no denying it. The agents that I've seen over time that have done the best and the brokers that have done the best are the ones who make the most personal contacts. I got this job as a referral. You likely found your agent through a referral. That hasn't changed through foreclosures, through boom times. And I think those are the things that I see most challenging over time, is trying to predict what those are going to be and how do I adapt my business to them. But also these different tools that you're going to need for different times, right? And think of the times when we had really high listing counts, right? Different tools came out for that period. And think of the times when we have real low listing counts like we have now. So we see things like arguments on the national stage about private listings and clear cooperation policy, which I'm involved in all those conversations now. But at the end of the day, I think an agent needs to adjust their sales accordingly and think about their business and how they're going to get that next listing, how they're going to get that next client. And it's likely going to be from a client they've already done work with, and to really lean into that aspect of it. I think it's more important to talk about what isn't changing, which is the love and the need and the want to live in your own home and to see that as success in America is awesome. And the fact that we get to be a part of that is even better. And that's kind of ingrained in kids, even as they leave the house. Like, I have to go find a place to live, right? Whether it's renting, but renting isn't success yet. It's owning the house that's the success. And that 90% of the time they pick someone to help them make that decision, likely get a referral from their parents. Even in the kids today are still getting those referrals from their parents, is what makes this business so great.
Yes. Now, as you mentioned, there's different tools for different times. You have been at the forefront of real estate technology in this industry. How have you seen real estate tech evolve?
First of all, I think it's getting easier to deploy real estate tech, even though I think that there's still a lot of challenges. And, I sit on the board of directors for the Real Estate Standards Organization, so I'll give a little plug to them. We're trying to break down those barriers, making it easier to get access to data, making it easier for you to try things out, use different tools. We have so much information at our fingertips, so do consumers. And I think there's some challenges that come with that. So still looking for a professional is important. I think the tools are getting easier. They're getting much more niche, I would say, that if you want something very specific done. And I think even in the world of AI, the term vibe coding, I don't know if you've heard this term, but it's really easy to start something new from scratch. And there's going to be a lot of kids in garages making things for real estate, or even real estate agents who say, I'm really good at this. Maybe I should take this, productize it, and sell it to other agents.
They're the ones that I want to do that because they understand the industry. The 12-year-old that's never bought the house does not understand what an agent needs.
The Sky Slopes of the world are real, right? Sky Slope was started by a bunch of agents. So a lot of these tools are born from agents' needs. And I think that's going to get easier in the future for agents to say, you know what really sucks in our space is this. We want to try to make it better. But what I hope is that the tools aren't built for the timing, and then that timing slips and then the tools go away. If you recall back in the day, we had a ton of lead programs that I wouldn't say have gone away, but they're just not as prominent as they used to be because buyers' leads are easier to get now than they used to be. But the concept of Boomtown, Tiger Leads, Zerpal was huge in my time. I say my time at the region and providing those tools to people. And they're still out there. They still exist today. They're just not at the levels they were at the time of getting buyers, which was a big deal back then. Getting a listing, everyone had a listing. It was finding someone to buy that listing. That was the hard part.
Yes. So AI is reshaping nearly every part of our world, and also this industry specifically. So in your opinion, what are the biggest AI-driven changes that agents and brokers should expect over the next few years?
I don't think AI, first of all, I don't think AI is going to replace agents. I want to be clear on that. I think having a personal conversation with someone, it'd be very tricky to do in AI. People want to meet in person about this thing, thankfully, about purchasing real estate. The thing that AI is going to make the mundane easier, I would say, look at the things you hate doing in your business. And if the thing you hate doing in your business is talking to your clients, I'm sorry, you're in the wrong business.
Real truth coming to you today.
So if you're looking for AI to replace meeting and doing listing presentations, then yeah, I think you're in the wrong space. But prepping for that listing presentation is going to be way easier. Being much more knowledgeable quickly is going to be easier. I think you guys probably work with a company called Sidekick. They are trying to make that easier to make agents more knowledgeable within the time frame. I think when I look back at my time in technology, that's exactly what technology has done in these years, right? It has made it easier, but we're human and we fill it with other junk, right? We think, it's going to give me all this spare time. It's like, oh no, we filled it with other junk. I think Sam Altman said this. I read his book too. Really good book, but calculators didn't erase math. We invented harder math, right? And I think this is what's going to happen with AI. And we're already seeing that happen. We're going to invent more complex things that humans will spend their time on, not necessarily spend their time on writing a great email.
Yeah.
Which I hate doing. Yes. So I'm using AI to help me get rid of the things I hate doing.
Yes. Okay.
Reading legal agreements, absolutely hate it. Great use of AI, right?
Yes. Okay. So you have said that no, you don't believe that AI will replace the real estate agent. I think some of my favorite conversations with you have been like, Dan, Could you build that? What could be built? So here is my challenge to you. You say that AI won't replace the real estate agent, but what aspect of the real estate agent's job could be replaced by AI? What could you build? And I'm not saying you should build it. Like, listen, I'm just saying, hey, agents, let's shore up our business a little bit here. What are the parts that are the weakest links?
This has been the weakest link for probably the years that I've been in this space, for over 20 years. But when I hear the old timers talk, the seasoned veterans, it's always been in our space, and that's been the follow-up aspect of our space. Mm-hmm. The concept that your clients think you're too busy because I'm not ready to purchase right now is still a real thought in your client's head, that I can't call Kaylee right now because I'm not quite ready to buy, but I just have this quick question about something, you know? The openness or willingness to contact Kaylee about anything about real estate should be something that your clients feel comfortable with, right? And I think the concept of follow-up, whether it's someone you haven't met or it is your existing clients, that nothing slips through the cracks and brings together your phone, your email, all the ways your clients potentially can contact you into one visible thing. Like, here's the thing you should go after today. Man, I think that would be killer. Yeah. And not just in that life, but maybe in my personal life, right? Like, you know, we all have the honey-do list and we have all these other things. It's like putting them in the correct order of prioritization. Spoiler alert, the thing you don't want to do is probably the thing you should do first.
Amen to that.
Right? Like,
I hate that reality.
I hate that. Don't we all hate that reality? The least rewarding thing is probably the thing you should do first, or that you think is the least rewarding thing. Mm-hmm. So I think juggling that in your life, I think what'll be interesting is when we let the AI in to be more proactive, not reactive to us reaching out to it. So if you want to read a paper that will scare the crap out of you, go to AI2027.com. I think that's the website. You can get it on YouTube. You can get it on Spotify for free if you want to listen to it. It is a very large document that kind of tells us the outcome here. Spoiler, it's not a fun outcome, but the rate at which this is growing. And I'll tell you, like, from a CEO's position, I started this January of 2024, this job, right? I started this in the AI age. So starting a company in the AI age is awesome.
Yes.
Because the mundane stuff that would take forever before can be done so quickly. The development can be done quicker from a software development standpoint. So when people look at what we've built with 4 people at Broker Public Portal, they're just like, it looks like magic. Mm-hmm. It looks like magic. Now, the people that I'm having helping me build this are super talented. I'm not discounting those people at all. It's like you just magnified their capabilities, right? Mm-hmm. That's how you should look to your clients, is like, I've just been magnified. Mm-hmm. I'm like a super agent now, right? It didn't diminish me. It improved me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I guess with great power comes great responsibility. Use it wisely.
So you've mentioned the Broker Public Portal a couple times.
That's
now.
tough for you to say, Kaylee.
It really is.
You just say
It shouldn't be.
You know what we say? We say BPP.
Let's
Just like
do it
easy.
that.
You know, BPP is like the short term for it.
I like that better.
Yeah.
So BPP, what is it and how does it impact people?
That's the same question I asked when they called me about the job.
Yeah. Good.
Actually, my response back to them, I had heard of it before. And I said, is that thing still around? And like, yeah, it's still around. It's still a thing, but it's kind of going through this reboot process. So I won't spend a ton of time on the history of the Broker Public Portal, but you likely had heard of the people watching this have likely heard of HomeSnap, which was the app the Broker Public Portal really partnered with to get out and about to really execute on their vision before. But the vision before actually started in 2015. A bunch of brokers and a bunch of MLSs got together and said, hey, the top portal in our space is Realtor.com, and it just got surpassed by Zillow.com. We have ownership in neither of those. Shouldn't we have some stake in this? Like, we think the outcome of this is bad in that they'll just take large referral fees. And at that time, it wasn't about that. It was actually, if you recall, it was about advertising revenue. What is it about now? Referral fees. I mean, some of these success fees that they're getting in some marketplaces are 40 30+%. You know, they're 42% in the Atlanta
On
marketplace.
this deal, and then the next deal.
And the next deal, and the next 2 deals, right? And so that's a business model they've chosen, and they're very successful with it. And so back in 2015, some visionary MLSs and brokers got together and said, like, we should have a stake in this, and we should call it Broker Public Portal. So the Broker Public Portal ran as a not-for-profit in that we are set up to create a consumer portal. And so their first go at it was actually a partnership with HomeSnap. They reached almost 1 million agents, started powering MLS websites, built a national portal at homesnap.com, and saw great success. They were in a lot of agents' pockets, which was great. Pockets, I don't mean money. Pockets, I mean picking up your phone and using it on a daily basis. And so they saw a lot of success with that. And unfortunately, the one thing that they didn't have in the beginning was the money to build it themselves, so they had to partner. And HomeSnap got purchased by CoStar, and CoStar eventually shut that down, and BPP was kind of stuck without a partner there. Now, I don't mean to say like stuck. It was just a choice that BPP made not to partner with HomeSnap going forward. And in that created a capital event, which we were able to get some money to start it over, to basically reboot it. And so what you're seeing from us today is the rebooted version of HomeSnap, not the HomeSnap tool, but the continuation of that strategy, which is powering MLS websites, having a national portal we call Cribio, which is coming out and is now available in the App Store, which is great. We just launched in the App Store and is available in right now 8 markets. So slowly going to different markets, hopefully coming to Michigan soon. If you're an MLS executive and you'd like to chat, I'd love to talk to you about it.
Good plug.
But we're a portal that doesn't charge referral fees, has no advertising, and it's built into our governance. And any broker who's watching this or any MLS who's watching this, you can still become an owner in the Broker Public Portal. You can purchase 1 share for $5,000. And our governance doesn't allow us to sell ads. So the only way we're supported is by the industry. So the MLSs and brokers support us through purchasing our product at a very low per member per month fee. And we're hoping to create a portal that is built for consumers, that doesn't force interaction, doesn't have to have ads and doesn't have to have the things that the traditional portals have today, but is on par technically. We want to be as good as the top portals are today, like technically. And that's what's great. There's no more moats left with AI. The only moat they still have, and granted this is a big moat, is they can buy Super Bowl ads and they can really advertise, right? But only 6% of transactions in 2024 were done on Zillow.com. Actually transacted on there, right? First of all, that's a gigantic number. If you multiply it out, it's still a big number. Kudos to them. But we have the clients. They're still transacting in our local brokerages, right? If we could give consumers the tools that are on par with those levels, I think we'd get more staying with us and you wouldn't be buying your clients back from these top portals.
So how could this broker-led model then change the way consumers find, evaluate, and interact with listings that maybe they don't do now?
Yeah, great. I think I answered a little bit before there, so I apologize for getting ahead of myself. When you meet your clients, they're likely on these portals today, right? Mm-hmm. It's great. There's so much information out there, right? We can be super nosy too.
I love it.
Who
love
doesn't love
knowing
it?
what
Who
my
doesn't?
neighbor's house looks like inside.
We all love it. And the portals have done a good job of leaning into that, and we want to lean into that too. Of maybe there's a tool you can invite your clients to that has just as good of an experience on it, where they don't feel like they have to have those apps. But I'd be naive if I sat here and said, well, we don't want those apps in those people's pockets. That's going to happen for sure. Do we want to give them an alternative space that when they go there and they happen to go to a local MLS website that may be super popular here and not want to leave because it doesn't have access to the west side of the state or New York data or Chicago data? So we really want to break down these borders of what exists today in our space. And we feel like we're in the spot to do it where a broker is not, because they may have another business model at play that people are worried about investing in it. We have no other business model in play here, right? We send the leads to the listing broker and agent. That's our business model. And we're sponsored by the local MLSs. So we hope that that builds a trust with the local MLSs that gives you a spot you can send your consumers where you're not going to have to buy them back.
Okay, Dan, while we have you, do you mind if I ask you some controversial questions? we can delete this if we need to.
We're all friends here.
How controversial.
This will be fun. These are the best conversations with you. Okay, first up on my list, MLS consolidation, pro or con?
I've been a huge advocate for MLS consolidation. I think very few people would argue against you on this. Maybe some MLS people would. I think the argument we would have is the rate at which it happens. I don't even know how many MLSs were in the state when I first started. It had to be north of 20. I don't know how many are here. Do you know how many are in the state now?
Well, it's tricky because if you do associations, you're still north of 20. If you do MLSs,
yeah, just MLSs.
10.
Well done. Well done. I'm happy to hear that. I think Mishrick and some of the work that's being done there in the Great Lakes Repository have helped out a ton with that, with the consolidation and data sharing. Okay, I'll give you something controversial. I think there is a negative side to consolidation. And I think I'm still very pro consolidation. Specifically, driving distance is tough. There are some marketplaces in the United States where you could drive 20 minutes and hit another MLS still. And they'll say, oh, we data share. But you and I both know data share is just, it's like the game of telephone. It's
So
a copy
painful.
of a listing, right? And then we complain about duplicate listings in our industry. Well, maybe if we stop making copies of them, we'd stop having duplicates. There's a hot take for you. Jeez.
Yes.
Why do we have so many duplicates? Because you guys keep making duplicates. So let me give you a negative side of consolidation, because I've seen it happen. There's some big marketplaces in the United States who are one MLS. I hope we never lose this local flair of something very specific in your area that really matters to picking a home. And I feel like when we do consolidation, some of that gets lost, but I'm thinking that's going to actually get more detailed in the future. Our ability to collect listing data in even more detail is going to become easier and easier. So we have a big job at RESO to keep up with the data dictionary of how we describe properties. We're talking about things like now like ceiling height, or what the ceiling material is, or, not like popcorn ceilings, but like wood ceiling, or how tall is the ceiling. And these are things as consumers, as like we're doing on Cribio today, you can just talk to the search. Consumers are going to expect that that's described in a property. The stuff like Cubicasa is doing with the ability to get a good floor plan, our ability to collect a lot of information and catalog that, I don't want to lose that in consolidation is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Can we go ahead?
Okay.
All right.
I know how you feel about consolidation.
All right. So how about NAR? Personally, I feel that NAR is responsible for so many of the good things in our industry, but they've been facing some extreme challenges in the last few years. And to a certain extent, I feel like the role that they once played in establishing how the good in the industry and how certain components of it should be run, they're abdicating a bit of that under legal pressure. From your side of things, what are your thoughts on this? Is it all negative? Is it natural progression? Should the local associations have the authority?
Wow. I just told you I don't like reading legal agreements. And you come at me with like a legal question.
This is a philosophical question. It's a philosophical question on leadership.
Based on legal principles in our space, policy. Look, I don't think we'd be here today without some form of policy. And I want to be clear on this, that to say broadly, say what I hear people saying with a broad stroke that the National Association of Realtors doesn't do anything for me is so far off.
It's painful to hear people say
I
that.
think we have such a unique marketplace in the United States, and it exists today because of cooperation. And I think it exists because of compensation. And without that guidance and without us competitors working together to create a marketplace. So I want to give credit where credit's due, and I think credit's due there. Your question about, I think my buddy Mitch Skinner says this best, it's not de-risking the National Association of Realtors, but more risk shifting to the local associations to take on this risk now. I think it's challenging times in our space around the legal aspects. But when you get down to it and the day-to-day and the boots on the ground, I feel like agents are very honest and are working in best interest of their clients. It's unfortunate that the view we get is very zoomed out of and painted with a very broad brush of how they think the industry works. But you don't hear the positive stories of that always. And I think agents don't hear the positive stories of the work that the National Association of Realtors does. And it's so indirect. Mm-hmm. Like if I had to give you a commercial right now for the Real Estate Standards Organization, who most of you likely have no clue exists, but yet you benefit from the work we do, and we're sponsored by the National Association of Realtors, we're sponsored by your local MLS, but it helps you so indirectly. Does that mean it's worthless? And I don't think that's the case. Like, it's complex, right? But the fact that you can call up and get a tool and you launch that tool in 2 days likely had to do because the Real Estate Standards Organization forced competitors to get together and say, hey, let's all call bathrooms, half bathrooms, right? Or let's all call square footage living area. Like, the agreements upon how we're going to do business with each other is such an important aspect, but yet is so indirect to their day-to-day business that they feel like they don't see it adding value every day. But I assure you that value's there. It exists.
Absolutely, yes.
It exists. Now, future policy, and again, these are my opinions because I have many unit holders who may not share my opinions on these. They have provided a lot of value to us. I hope they continue to provide value in the future, and I'm here to help if they need an opinion on where they can provide value. I have a couple ideas, but I'm not buying into this fact that they're worthless and that they haven't provided any value. They have provided value for sure.
Yes. Okay. Moving on. Zillow versus the industry. Are they good or evil?
Again, I think that Zillow has given us many things that we are easy for us to look back at and say they were evil, but they forced the industry to change. They forced the industry to provide more information to consumers. It's interesting to see this shift go back to not providing as much information to consumers. I mean, when I first started, there was still some MLSs that wouldn't publicize address.
Yes.
It wouldn't publicize photos, more than one photo of a property. And you would talk to an agent, like, if we provide more information, then they won't have a reason to call us. But then you just spent all your day providing information over the phone and not actually getting to the closing table, right? So I think that Zillow has been very positive in some aspects to our business of getting the industry to shift or getting someone to chase after there. I have very much respect for the people at Zillow, and a lot of them are my friends over there that work there. But Rich Barton says, they turned on the light on a bunch of stuff, like in the darkness kind of thing is his pitch. But I'll also say that they turned on a lot of lights in our industry to say there's a need and want for people to be super nosy about not only their home valuation, but even after you buy a house, you're not just searching for a house when you need one. You're always searching for houses, and you're always looking at houses because you're interested in how your investment's doing, right? And I get to play in that every single day. I get to play with search. So that's really, I'm thankful that they kind of really shined a light on that. I think they're in an interesting spot, and I think they're in that interesting spot because they're at the top. And when you're at the top, there's a lot of targets pointed at you, and they're getting a lot of them pointed at them right now. I think that they are a force to be reckoned with, though, because they have one thing in their back pocket, and that's they have consumers. And people will tend to go where the consumers go. And so
I think that was one of the differentiator is that they really put the consumers at the forefront of what their business practices were, and the consumers followed.
So we say, at Broker Public Portal, we're a consumer first portal, and that we're trying to create a search that doesn't make trade-offs like that. Instead of serving two masters, right? We're owned by brokers and MLSs. And if I went and asked them what I should put on the site, unfortunately, someone would still say you needed a credit card to see photos 2, 3, and 4. We're going to hopefully be the voice of the consumer there. And we've got some good ideas ahead of us here of how we can make that interaction better between consumers and the people who represent the content, right? The people who represent the listings.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next up on my hit list, private listing networks. Is this seller choice or inventory control?
Oh, geez. Really hitting me with the big ones. First of all, I think private networks have existed for a long time. They exist within offices today, whether it's private Facebook groups or other places. I think it's just more in the media now. I think we're facing this because of inventory shortage. There's a direct correlation even between FSBOs and lower inventory, right? If it's easy to sell a house, why not just put it on Craigslist? That's a very old statement now. Put it on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. I don't know where people are hanging out these days, and maybe still Craigslist that people are putting them. But I think those fears have always existed in low inventory marketplaces, and I think we're seeing that. If we were to flip the script and say, okay, we're at inventory levels of 2009 here in Michigan, I think no listing would be private. You would be probably having billboards with listing photos on it, right? Because the competition is high. But because a listing is worth so much, there is this concept that could we keep it within our company? Now, I'm not going to make assumptions that people are keeping it within the company to represent both sides of the deal. I think you can make that assumption on your own. But I do want to point out that there are instances where people don't want to put their property on the market. And we've seen success, small success, in the open doors of the world to say, I just want to get cash for this place and walk away. But I will tell you, my buddy sold his place. He did not want to do showings, gave an agent the opportunity to sell it privately. And he put a price down. He said, if you can give me this price, I'm happy. She got him that price, never hit the market. He's super happy. Now, he's a very interesting case. He's got 3 other houses, doesn't want to go through showings. So I think there is ask from consumers. The question is, did they ask for it? And I think we'll never know that because those are private conversations that are happening between clients and agents. So that's really the question there is, are they representing them both fairly?
Okay, so we've done our hit list of some of the challenges. What about the good? What are you most optimistic about in our industry over the next 5 years?
First of all, the hunger to own a home still exists. I think it's still out there. I think you'll read other things of like a home is a bad investment. I think that's bullshit. I think a home is a great investment. I think people still want to invest in a home. They want a private space. They don't like shared space. I think home affordability is something that we as an industry need to talk more about. But also, again, I think it's one of those wins where it's very difficult for us to have an effect on that wind, and that we need to adjust our sales appropriately for that and represent a community that has needs that may be renting and may be home ownership as well. But I'm excited about the future for real estate in that the want and need to use a person as well is not going away. It feels very much still alive. To me, nothing on the horizon. Anything that was on the horizon as a disruptor before seems to now be falling to the wayside still. They start as a disruptor. They're no longer a disruptor. They realize how challenging this space is. And there was a podcast recently that I listened to that talked about even the localization of the agents in that local market are so powerful. Even if you are an agent that's further away, your odds of getting that deal are slim because you aren't an agent that knows the other agents in that space. So that is such a unique piece that we have going for us. And I think that pretty much sums it up. The want and need to live in a house plus the want and need for people to represent people who want to sell those properties is great. Yeah. We have a huge supply of inventory waiting to come on market. That's the business I want to be in.
Yeah. So real talk, like if you
That wasn't real?
All these philosophical questions and answers, they're all fun. They're all great. But if you could give one piece of advice to agents navigating all this change in the industry, from shifting markets to AI to evolving customer expectations, what would your piece of advice be?
Wow.
One
piece of advice. I'm going to go back to advice I gave a long time ago to someone who asked me what was that one app you need to have on his phone? I said, good news, it's already on your phone, and it's called the phone. And I've even seen this today, right? Because I'm the salesman for our company. I'm the CEO. We don't have a sales team, right? And anytime I feel like I need to pick me up, I don't call a friend and say, hey, talk me out of this slump. I make a sales call. let me go try to get in touch with this person. Let me see what happens. Because setting a meeting or having a conversation with another MLS really is what I think it fuels me personally. Or calling someone saying, hey, have you talked to this other person, right? I think that is the fuel agents need. You know, they need that next deal too. And they maybe want to mine for gold, but they don't want to do the prospecting, right? They don't want to sift through the sand to find the gold. They just want to go buy gold. And look, some portals offer the ability for you to just go buy some gold. And that's very enticing. I get it. But I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned. And I think sitting in the back of the room at a lot of those brokers things, I've heard a lot of sales things, right? You probably too have, Kaylee. Yeah. You know, Mike does those great programs. Yeah. I think one of the best ones I heard was yes lives in the land of no. You got to sift through some no's to get to a yes, right? Yeah. And so my advice to agents, continue to build relationships through personal connection. That's the place you don't lean into AI replacing you trying to make those personal connections with people. And most of you are going to look at that and go, that is the most boring answer ever. But I think it's the right answer.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's nothing that can replace this.
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Like the way that you make me feel, the way I make you feel, vice versa with Ashley and I, like that is something that cannot be replaced by technology. It's just in you. It's your heart. Yep. So,
and I think being genuine.
Yes.
But also, yes, it's okay to be seen as a friend because I think that's important, right? Like I can reach out to you anytime, but also to be seen as a professional. I'm competitive at this. I'm the best at this, right? And do we have agents who are competitive at this?
Absolutely.
We talk about it all the time, the gamification, right? I know what our number one I know what your number one open email is. It's likely the top 100. It's likely your monthly stats email, right?
Yep.
This concept of gamification of I'm the best at this, right? I say we feed into that, right? We do feed into it, but I'm not saying going out there and bragging to your clients, but know when they call you that they're calling an expert, right? And make yourself the expert. How do you make yourself an expert? Use AI to help you be that, right? Yeah. They don't need to know that behind the scenes, but don't have AI send a text for you. Come on. Like it's Wendy's used to have a saying, Wendy's the restaurant. That's what I'm talking about. Not Wendy Wilkinson. If she's watching this, hello, Wendy. Is she still an agent? I hope she's an agent. They used to have a saying, I can't believe I'm saying this, that would say, when it's real. Like, the difference between like quality, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And no one knows that better than humans.
I feel like you're baiting me here. I've got to challenge this because I think that there is a place for AI to help you with the text messages. I think you just need to call it out. I think when a lead comes in or something like that, I think having AI Dan reach back out to them and say, thank you so much for inquiring. Here's an answer. I'll have real Dan reach back out to you as soon as he's available. I think that there is a place where AI can give better customer service to a consumer. Just be transparent about it.
100%. I couldn't agree more to that. But I wouldn't call that a relationship in which you already have. I would call that, you're prospecting still, right? You're trying to sift through to see if they're real or not. Like, because a big question you're going to get is the question I get on Facebook Marketplace when I have to sell something is like, is this item still available?
You roll your eyes.
I know. We get it all the time, right? We get it in real estate. If AI could help me give confidence to that consumer that the property is still available, like, let us go check. Yeah, we just checked. It's still active in the MLS as of 2 seconds ago. Maybe that could like give them some confidence that what they're seeing on the page is real. But I don't think it should replace how you make someone feel, right?
I couldn't agree more with that.
I think if you trade it in, like if Kaylee and I have a great relationship, which I think we do, Kaylee, I hope we do. And one day she gets a text from me. She knows my style of writing. She knows who I am. And it's like, I'm stuck in Europe. I don't have my phone. I need money.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with that text?
Delete.
Yeah, you're gonna know right away. No, that's a bad example because she knows I wouldn't be stuck in Europe without money.
You have Sarah in your life.
Right? I have Sarah in my life. I'm gonna be stuck in Europe without money. But she knows it's not me.
Right.
Right?
It's not genuine.
It's not genuine. And that's where I don't think you should. And I only say this because I had someone ask this to me the other day. what do you think about the verbiage in this text? And I was like, that doesn't sound like you.
Yeah.
Who are you going to send that to? My clients. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely not. Do not send that, right? Especially making it come across as a blue bubble, like it's you sending it to your existing clients. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So looking forward, what is next for BPP?
Exciting. Yeah. Thank you. I Broker Public Portal and our national portal called Cribio, which is a lot of fun to work on, is we want to create consumer search, which we would use, which we would love to use. I have all the apps in my pocket right now. I can tell you the nuances between them all. We are obsessed with this. We want you to be able to give something to your client that has your name on it, that has your brand on it, even that you feel is a replacement for one of those apps. And we think search is actually just starting. I know that sounds weird, but search has existed for so long, right? We call it haystack needle internally. You're trying to narrow down that one that's right for you. And this isn't finding cars. I think the best way to actually find out, like the best way to describe what it's similar to, I think Mike DePretti said this, was like, it's more about finding a spouse and picking a college, right? Because it's kind of very much a one-way door. It's very hard to back out of. When you find that house and you purchase it, it's hard to get back out of. So I think those are very different ways to think about how people search, but also everything is unique. Very few of them are alike, which is cool. But we're even seeing it today that search is the basis for conversational AI about properties. So you have to have really great search, really fast search. So I encourage you to go on and check out some of our marketplaces. We're in the Chicago marketplace, Minneapolis, coming to New York and Florida. We're in North Carolina, Indiana, Illinois, coming to a bunch more, hopefully Michigan here soon. And we'd love to come to the state, have a conversation with your local MLS about bringing Broker Public Portal to your marketplace would be awesome. But we're set up in a way that makes people feel comfortable that we're inside the tent with them, which is great. That's the kind of portal we want to create. You can actually own a piece of this portal, which is awesome. Unlike the portals that are out there today. But also we have a big uphill battle with the portals today. This is something you send your clients to, not something we're actively going to have a Super Bowl commercial on.
All right, Dan, as we wrap up, do you have any final words that you want to leave us with?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for this opportunity. Greatly appreciate it. Also, I know we talked a lot about relationships. I'm thankful for the relationships I've formed here, especially with you two, who
you started it. You hired both of us. It's been incredible.
I know, but you guys have been amazing, way beyond what I thought you would do when I first met you. But I knew you guys had it in you and capable, and way beyond where, like, I envisioned things going. So I remember the days you said yes to come join the region, and I'm super thankful you guys did that as well. And
I'm super thankful for you as well. I mean, I couldn't be happier where I'm at now, and I couldn't be happier working alongside Ashley, and that's all due to you. And you've created such a great region, along with Mike and others.
Yeah.
But well done.
That one referral many years ago has had
That's
positive
right.
impact on so many people's lives.
It has.
There you
It
go.
has. And I think that's the thread that runs through this podcast is referrals that led us here. So thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thank you for joining us. This has been a great conversation, and I hope that it allows everybody to catch up on what you've been doing and where you've been and the BPP and all that good stuff. So thank you for joining us. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in for another episode of Recharge. We hope that you got a lot of nuggets from this episode. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. And that's it for today. Thank you.